over some of the main components of the course for AP Government and Politics. So in this course, you will be introduced to key political ideas, institutions, policies, interactions, roles, and behaviors that characterize U.S. political culture. We will examine politically significant concepts and themes. You'll learn to apply disciplinary reasoning, assess causes and consequences of political events, and interpret data to develop evidence-based arguments. And you'll develop a critical understanding of strengths and weaknesses of the American political system, as well as your rights and responsibilities as citizens. The main units of the course are listed here. So in this class, this year, because it's an election year, we are going to cover the 5 main units in a slightly different order so that they align a little bit better with what's happening in current events. So we will be beginning with Foundations of American Democracy. Some of this will be familiar to you because you'll have explored these philosophical ideas and these ideas about government in previous classes. And we'll then get into political ideologies and beliefs, why Americans value, what unifies us, and sort of what issues or values divide us. And then we'll get into political participation, and that will cover the nomination process and elections, campaigns. So hopefully we'll be getting into that fairly quickly so that it can coincide with the election, the presidential election this year. And then we'll spend quite a bit of time in interactions among branches of government. And this is where you'll study Congress and the president and the courts, as well as the bureaucracy, which is often considered the 4th branch of government. And then that'll segue nicely into our civil liberties and civil rights unit, which will be our last unit. Just note that this is a little bit different when we're using AP Classroom than the order that's presented. The units are the same. All of these really build off of each other in different ways, and it'll all come together by the end of the class. But just note that the unit numbers are a little bit out of order for us for this year because it just, I think, makes more sense for our course. Here are the big ideas. Of course, constitutionalism. We're going to look at values and ideas about government and purposes of government. And liberty, of course, is a real important foundational principle, as well as order. We'll look at civil participation and representative democracy. As you know, we have a representative democracy where you elect people who then make decisions for you. We don't all just get a direct say in policy. Look at competing policy-making interests. This is a very complex process, the process of making policy. And so we will spend a lot of time looking at that. And then various methods of political analysis. So major activities, of course, in a remote environment. Some of these we're going to spend more time on than others. As we get back into a hybrid environment, some of these we'll be able to do in person potentially. But you should be prepared to participate every day and take part in discussion. We will spend a lot of time on sources, primary as well as secondary source material, debates and role plays and simulations when we can. A lot of this class revolves around current events. So if you don't already pay close attention, you're going to need to start to pay close attention, and there'll be more on that in the coming week or so. Interpreting charts and statistics and understanding different voting demographics. We may potentially get into a mock trial if we have time with civil liberties. And of course, research and writing, reading, lots of reading, and working in cooperative groups or in the Blackboard Collaborate format, more of a breakout groups. So our expectations for this year, of course, do the work. You are going to have to apply yourself quite a bit outside of class so that we can cover everything that we need to cover in the AP curriculum. There are going to be a lot of readings, so you're going to make sure that you complete them, not just text readings, but any supplemental materials very thoughtfully and thoroughly. You always want to make sure you're attending class and actually participating in all of our synchronous times because we don't have a lot of time together, so it's precious. Please make sure that you're completing all out-of-class assignments and activities, anything that's given to you asynchronously, so when we're not meeting live. definitely be open-minded and open to new ideas. I think the great thing about this class is it really can challenge some of your sort of previous conceptions of things and be receptive to what other people bring to the class in their points of view. And certainly be respectful of others' views and opinions as we go through this course. So our weighting of assignments, exams will be 30%, our papers projects 20%, quizzes. I'm going to have to kind of think of how I'm going to be doing some of the vocab quizzes a little bit differently because those are usually things that we did in class. So in a remote environment, that's going to look a little different. I'm thinking quizzes will be more of like Edpuzzle type quizzes on some videos, and we'll be trying to flip the classroom a little bit with some of the lectures and some of the videos because we're just not going to have enough time during class to do all of that. You will have a news journal, more on that in a bit. And then reading notes from a textbook that's available within Blackboard, and your participation, which is come in class and participating in whatever activities we have during our class. So we'll use Blackboard, of course. I've built this whole class on Blackboard since I've been teaching it. So fortunately, that works out well so that things are fairly well organized. Right now, you should see all 5 units when you log into Blackboard. However, there are certain things from each unit that will be hidden, but generally the folders are pretty much the same. So on the side there, you'll see class information. There's just some basic information there. Contact information, the syllabus, if you want to take a look at that, a little bit of information about me. These are our 5 units. So in each unit folder, you will see an assignments folder, a lectures folder, a readings folder, a resources folder, and typically the unit exams will end up in a folder in there as well. So right now they're all available to you, but again, there's content within each folder that's hidden at the moment. So it will be released and then it stays released throughout the course so that you have access to it. So some ongoing assignments that we have, there are assignments within each unit folder, but then ongoing assignments would be the reading notes and the news journal. And so those are within the assignments folder. The textbook is going to be all available in PDF. You will have reading notes or reading outlines, chapter outlines that you're doing for each of those. So you should be able to view each of those chapters in PDF. And when you have an assignment, it will say the chapter as well as the page numbers that you should be outlining or taking notes on. The news journal is something that I require students to complete each week. I'll talk a little bit more about this when we meet in class next time. But basically, you have to watch one of these 4 programs, and I ask that you switch it up and don't watch the same one every week. So you at least get sort of a flavor for how the format is and how their sort of political bias on the show. But you're either watching Face the Nation this week, Fox News Sunday, or Meet the Press. And then you're doing just a quick, like a half a page summary of what the show is about, who were the guests, what were the topics that they discussed. And then you do about a half a page analysis, and this is double spaced, where you talk about how it connects to our themes, any concepts that we're going over in class, your reaction to whatever was discussed on the program. And so it's an opportunity for you to really kind of follow the news and also respond to what's happening. Something that I would like you to please do before the end of this week is in your Drive, if you could create a new folder, label it your last name, space your first name, space AP Gov, and then share it with me. And this is really what you'll kind of be working out of for the class. Most assignments will be submitted right in Blackboard, but this way, if something's missing or if you're working on, like a Google Doc or a Google Slides presentation, you have it in your folder. I at least can have access to it if for some reason it doesn't get submitted in Blackboard. So I'm going to ask that you please do that by the end of this week. And that is it for the moment. That's just kind of a quick overview of the course where you can find some general things in Blackboard. So please let me know in our next class if you have any questions about this.